Hello everyone. The purpose of this video is to show you how to use an alternate resource to exercise 4.1 for imagery analysis. Unfortunately, the imagery service that was provided by ESRI was discontinued in 2019. And that was really useful because it had 1990, 2000, and 2010 different imagery service layers for the entire world, from Landsat 8 and 7 and 5, that allowed you to quickly go back and forth between different years and see the changes and be able to pull out raster imagery. There are still services that allow you to do that. I'm going to show you one of those, but it's a little bit more challenging than what is on the tutorial, so the level of difficulty has gone up just a bit. So if you go to your web browser and search MS Landsat ESRI, this link at the top pops up. It's Multispectral Landsat, and when you click on that, this is actually a new imagery service layer provided by ESRI, the people that create ArcMap, that you can use to access the imagery. So you can open it in Map Viewer, which is an ArcGIS Online feature, Scene Viewer, or if you'd like, you can click Open in ArcMap, and then it'll provide this little item. If you open this, it'll open up the imagery service in ArcMap, or alternatively, if you copy this URL, this is the REST server for that service. So I'm going to go back to ArcMap and go to Search, or Catalog, and then GIS Servers, and I'm going to add an ArcGIS server like it shows on the tutorial. Use GIS Services, and I am going to copy in that address. When I click Finish, it adds this Landsat 2 ArcGIS server, and when I open it, you see it has Landsat, Landsat GLS, utilities, and different other images. I'm going to go ahead and open Landsat, and then open this, which is the multispectral. So when I drag it in, I have to give it a minute to load. Now we have the multispectral imagery for the planet. Now the challenging thing with this is that this is a bunch of raster images. It's a very dense mosaic that includes imagery from 1975, 1990, 2000, 2005, 2010, and then pretty regularly up through 2020. So this has a lot of different data points that you can use for your analysis and for this assignment, but it is a bit of a challenge to get that information. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first I want to show you a little bit about this layer, some of the functionality. So if you right click, actually first I'm going to zoom into an area that I'm familiar with. So I actually live in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's a city that I'm familiar with. I specifically live in Mesa, Arizona. So I'm just using this magnifying glass to zoom in to the city, and Phoenix is right here. Sometimes it takes a little bit to load. And so now I'm going to zoom in just a little bit further, and this is called the East Valley of the Phoenix metropolitan area. So this whole place is the Phoenix metropolitan area, and I'm zooming in to the East Valley. And right now, this is what it looks like in 2020. All right, so in order to maximize the utility of this imagery layer, we need to activate time properties. So the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and open your attribute table. This can take some time, but this kind of will give you an idea of what information is stored in here and what we're going to use. So within the attribute table, you can see these names here, and you can see them in yours. We're looking for a time attribute that we can tell it to operate on. So we have an acquisition date, we have a day of year, we have a month, we have the specific satellite that's using it, and we also have a data set ID which this will tell you what raster or what Landsat it's using and what year it's from as well, but that's a little bit harder to use. So what we're going to use is the acquisition date. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and we're going to open our properties, and then we're going to go to time. And we're going to say, we're going to enable time on this layer, and we're going to say each feature has a single time field, and we're going to use the acquisition date. Important, we're going to use the calculation button to set different time intervals, but you're going to want to check display data cumulatively so it pulls it all together so you can see different times. So make sure that you check display data cumulatively and then click calculate. And this does take some time. So my recommendation is that the MS satellite imagery, it goes all the way to 2020, but it can take, an hour or 2 hours to do this time calculation from all the imagery is collected. If you use the GLS satellite imagery instead, which is one of our folders that popped up, and just use the MS from there, the multispectral imagery from there, it only goes to 2010, and this time calculation will go much faster. So you keep in mind it does take a little time. This might be a good time to take a break and wait for it to calculate this. Okay. All right, now that the time properties have been calculated, I'm going to click OK, and it should apply them to ArcMap. The next thing that you're going to do in order to activate the time properties is to click on this time slider. So when I click on the time slider, it'll open this little window. So I'm going to go ahead and advance it to a year that has imagery. So let's go to 1990. So here you have some imagery, it looks like, from 1985. For that area, it might be limited in the bandwidth because of the satellite that was collected. So let's see if I advance it to 1993. Let's see what populates. Okay, so now we have imagery for 1993. And if I advance it again, see if anything changes. It's not looking like it. Okay. Now when we get to 2000, it should change again. Let's give it time to load. See, it does change. So now you have imagery from 2000. So keep in mind the points are, I believe, 1990, 2000, 2005, 2010, and then you have up-to-date imagery. So if we advance again, you see it updates again. You have new imagery. And then if you advance it past 2010, you should see it update again. Okay, and then if we advance to 2014, let's see if that updates. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just go to the last data point. Looks like I've got to give it some time, and yes, so it advanced to 2020. So if I want to go back, I can click a data point back, but that's how you get new imagery from different temporal points or different time points. It's not as easy and it takes a lot more time as the previous imagery service, but this is what we have to work with right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and close this time slider on 2014. So I have 2014 imagery showing, but if I go to Landsat and go to properties, there are some built-in band combinations. So if you go to processing templates, right now it's geology with DRA. I can switch it to NDVI. And if I click OK, maybe I'll try a different band combination. So I'm going to click to and DPI colorized and see if that works. And see, now you have a different combinations that you can quickly access. So if you go to properties again and go to agriculture, it does a different band length or bandwidth or band combination, sorry, so that you see that here. And those are just some of the built-in band combinations that you can quickly switch through. So hopefully this will be helpful in completing that assignment and also completing your final projects as well. The imagery analysis window that you're going to use is right here. So if you just go to Windows, Image Analysis, and that'll pop up here. I like to put it on the side, and then you see it's right here, and you can do all those functionalities that are in the tutorial. All right, so that's the image analysis window. One other thing I wanted to show you from the GIS server is that this is the Landsat Multispectral. The other item that I was talking about, or the other layer that I was talking about, was Landsat GLS. That this will process much faster than this file. So if you bring in this one, it's just 2010, 2000, and 1990 imagery, and when you do the time calculation, it'll go faster. But if you want to look at 2014 or 2018 data, you're going to want to use this Landsat. All right, I look forward to seeing you in the course.